Hey guys, Primal Chaos here. Welcome to the channel. Look, we're going to get back into some rock today. And have I done Killswitch before? I feel like I might have back in the day. But look, anyway, I'm a little bit familiar with Killswitch. They're not super new to me. I wouldn't be able to name any of their albums or anything like that. There's a few songs that have kicked off in my history that I thought are pretty rad. And I know that they've had several vocalists. This one, I believe, is Howard singing. Not 100% sure, actually. But look, I wanted to get back into some Killswitch, and this seemed like a pretty good time to do it. I don't have any real context for this one. I don't know what era or what album it's off. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. That'd be fantastic. But I just wanted to hear some sick riffs. And if there's one thing I know about Killswitch, is that they are riff machines. And, you know, Howard's usually got a really unique and interesting vocal. So let's check it out. It's what I'm here for. Here we go. Oh, come on. Is it just me, or does vintage Killswitch sound remarkably like modern Parkway? Am I crazy? I don't know, but yeah, look, it's already anthemic. That guitar riff repeating like that is super cool. Those low chuggy riffs that sort of they sort of punch you right in the guts where they should. Let me jump back a little bit. Howard just has a tone that just no one else has. I think I could pick his voice out of a lineup 100% of the time, and I don't even listen to the band. You know, that's wild. Wow, either.
This distance, this dissolution, I cling to memories while falling. Sleep brings release and the hope of a new day, waking the misery of being without you. Surrender, I give in. Another moment is another eternity. For comfort, for solace, for the end of my broken heart.
Nice. Nice. Wow, it's quite real.
You know.
I like that. That was like I have no idea what these guys are tuned to or anything, but there's the secret to those sort of solos is a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs. You know, let me hear what it sounds like again. Why does my guitar sound so bad? Whatever it is, but he's doing a lot of those hammer-ons pull-offs. Something like that. So he's pulling off to the open string. It's hard to see, sorry, let me see, get it where the camera can see. But basically, in between every note, you pull off to the open string, and it sounds like you're playing twice as many notes. It's pretty sneaky, but... You may have heard that in an AC/DC song from time to time. Like, So it's really hard to play in this position. But you get the idea. And it's not uncommon. I hear that so many times since I started doing this channel and doing a lot more extreme music. I had no idea that open strings were getting used as much as they are. You know, there's so many times... Muse does it all the time. They got... There's just a whole bunch of different times I hear it all the time. But it's a cool technique because it sounds a lot more complex than it probably is. And what's great about that is for two reasons. One, if you're playing live and you're running around and you still have to perform a guitar solo, it's better to come up with something that's not going to slow you down and have to really focus to hit every note. And also, it leads in each of those little run sort of open string passages leads into like a jug, 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 jug. So being able to get between those two concepts of playing on different parts of the neck without any gap in between is super important, because you can't be like focusing on doing some really middly stuff up the top and then having to get down here to the E, and of course all that's doable, but how taxing is it on you as a player as you're trying to rock out in front of a stadium full of people? You want something that sounds super creative and impressive, isn't all that hard to execute, and it just is able to lead into something badass without sort of taking you out of the moment, having to think about juggling 16 balls at once. Not only that, it's accessible to fans who are trying to learn how to play. You know, like there's some complexity in this. There's some little riffs and bits and pieces that are going off, you know, through the verses and little guitar licks and runs that would take a beginner a certain amount of time to get their head around. But I would recommend this song to anybody who wants to learn how to shred a guitar solo pretty early on in their learning, because it teaches a lot of fundamentals that you can get up to speed relatively quickly and will sound really cool and impressive for the ladies, or if you're a lady, for the guys. And you know, it's not going to take you too long before you can play it as good as the guy in the band, you know. And that's a barrier to entry for a lot of stuff, particularly in the metalcore and hardcore scenes, because there's some really complex guitar wizardry going on now. That's one of the things that pulled me back into the genre. Some of these guitar solos, like the guys from Lorna Shore and stuff like that, holy shit, can they shred, right? And so when I see something like this, I'm like, this is perfect, because 100% there are guys watching this video right now who Killswitch got them into playing guitar. And if they can hear a song on the record and then go to their guitar teacher and say, I want to learn how to play that, or look up a YouTube video and figure it out, they'll be able to play that solo relatively quickly in a way that's not going to discourage them or make them not want to play anymore. Anyway, I've spent too much time talking about that. Let's go back a little bit. I love that, man. So many weird vocal layers in this song. Like I noticed it earlier as well, where he was doing a higher part that was repeated from before with a newer part underneath that was louder in the mix. So it kind of sounds like there's two singers going on at once, but without it being too distracting. And then he just had that high, I guess you could call it like a high scream fry sound going over the top of his strong, punchy verse vocals.
You know me all too well.
You know me all too well. Like that, over the top. It just makes it sound so much more interesting without having to alter the melody or anything for that second verse as much as you normally would.
You know me. You know me all too well. My only desire to bridge our division. It's sorrow. I speak your name, and my voice mirrors my torment.
Nice harmonies. There it is again, vocal layering, right? He's got a really strong anthemic melody. I'll be waiting. And in the background, there's like a really quiet sort of screamed vocal that's out of time and out of sync. All right, where's this going?
For comfort, for solace.
You know, it's a catchy hook when I'm not even all the way through the song one time and I'm already singing along. I just wanted to jump on a harmony so bad there, like this. Just can't help it. Great way to end it too. Wow, what a solid song. Stick around after the ad break and I'll give you my final thoughts. Hey guys, this video is made possible by Enchroma. 1 in 6 guys and 1 in 200 women are colorblind, and if that happens to be you, there's something you can do about it. Click the link in the description, it'll take you to Enchroma's website where you can get a free eye test, and while you're there, maybe pick up some corrective lenses. They've got styles to suit everybody and a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you got really nothing to lose. And while you're there, use the code CHAOS in checkout to get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. All right, we're back. Okay, wow, that was cool. Not super surprising because, like, the thing about Killswitch seems to me that they have their own very unique sound, and so you sort of, if you've heard, I was about to say if you've heard one Killswitch song, you've heard them all, but that's not true. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I mean is the fingerprint of their sound is so obvious that, you know, it feels like you're sort of like coming home, right? I'm trying to think where I first heard Killswitch. There used to be these Roadrunner Records. Was it Roadrunner? Whoever the label is. They used to do these samplers back in the like around 2005, 2006, where they would get artists to do covers of other songs and things like that, and just put them out. I don't know if it was with album covers or whatever. The store I was working at the time used to get them, and so I'd grab them every once in a while. And I remember these guys did. Holy Diver, was it? By Dio. And I just remember thinking, holy shit, this is like, anytime somebody sort of touches Dio, I sort of wonder if it's worth it, right? Because Dio does everything perfectly. But what these guys did with that song was they did it enough service in that they played it pretty much the same. They changed a few things, tempo and just the punchiness of it and the modern sort of mechanics of studio techniques and mixing and stuff like that. But what was interesting is they made it a Killswitch song, and so it didn't feel sacrilegious. It felt like this is actually a really good version of this song. And you know, I mean, there might be Dio purists out there who would disagree, but I certainly didn't. And I punished that song in my car wherever possible. And so, you know, to me, this does sound like Coming Home. I recognize the sound of them immediately. I feel their riff energy. Howard's voice, just to me, it is Killswitch engaged, but that's because I come from that era, right? So if you were there prior to Howard joining, you know, it might sound a little bit unusual. I think the general consensus, though, is that they picked a great voice. So, and, you know, there's a million singers out there, but there might only be 10 that have purely, truly unique sounding voices, you know? And and Howard's one of them. Like, you can hear him a mile away. It's not just the sound of his voice. He has that big, warm, woolly, sort of well-rounded sort of whoa sort of vibe. It's almost a little bit grunge era, right? In that he's not hard into his consonants. A lot of it is really sort of like warm, open vowel sound sort of tone. But I forgot what I was getting at. But essentially, you know, it's just, they could have literally picked any other voice, and there's tons of other guys who could have jumped in and done this. But to me, Howard allowed Killswitch to stand out from the pack because he was an unusual choice and a recognizable choice, you know. And that's just fantastic. I'm a big fan. I think that was a great song. I love the fact that it was kind of a bit of a slow dirge. It's not super fast and super aggressive. It takes its time. It masks out its own space, and it sits comfortably within it. It's not trying to be anything that it's not. It's just, here's a great song being delivered, you know, the way it should be. And I don't know that there's much else to say about it. It, you know, it definitely has a flavor of that era. I guess late 2000s-ish, something like that. Like 2000, whatever. When did this even come out? I'm assuming it was later than 2005, 2006. But it has a little bit of that sort of feel, you know. But again, they sort of have a way of making it a little bit more unique. And I think that's kind of what set these guys apart from the plethora of bands that were around at the time. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on it. If you feel like I brightened your day at all, feel free to support the channel. Just buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. And, you know, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. But more importantly, if you think anybody might appreciate this video, send it around to your friends. And, you know, I'm trying to hit that 10,000 mark. When I started, it was never about the subs. And to be honest, it still isn't. But it makes you feel good when that number's going up. And I feel like I've been sitting in the low 7s for far too long. You guys are great. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. And I'll catch you on the next one.